Hey, this is Pete Taylor. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson. Let's level it up, guys.
Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode with Pete Taylor, a good friend from across the pond over in England. The guy's story is absolutely phenomenal. He wants you to play big, play hard, live up to your potential. He's going to drop so many knowledge nuggets in this that you must. First of all, if anybody that's really not playing big enough for themselves, share this with them because they need to hear it. I promise you. They need to hear it. And if you like it, please hit the like and subscribe and all that other jazz. It really helps my sponsors and affiliates. But he gets really deep into how to be a high performer without sounding all rah-rah like me or something like that. You just really get into his story. You actually feel it. I was like feeling really empathetic. I was moved close to tears, man, because he's so sincere. So I just love you to sit back, relax, break out your notebooks, because here comes my good friend, Pete Taylor. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson. I got my boy, a true leader, someone that I immensely respect. It's across the pond over in the UK and England. His name is Pete Taylor. He's a growth coach and strategic advisor. You might know him as one of the founders of the Awakened Man Project, formerly running his own businesses for the last 7 years, building a team of 20 staff and award-winning company. He now advises multiple businesses at board level and assists in the growth of others. He's a gym and personal development nut. I mean, if you're watching this handsome dude on either Vimeo or YouTube or whatnot, he's pretty well put together. And that, again, I respect that. And best of all, man, he's a outstanding husband and a father. He's the kind of people I like to bring on to level this squad up. So, Pete, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
It's black.
Nice, bro.
Yeah, and you notice I'm wearing black. My background is black.
Yeah.
I just like the darkness of it. You can go deep with that. So there's my reasoning.
No, I love it, man. And like a lot of people might say it's used for slimming, but like you don't have that problem, man. You're pretty damn well put together. So, hey, so let's get to the roots, right? First of all, if you don't mind sharing, I can edit this out. What's your age?
36.
36. Okay. So you're not young and you're in that silverback time frame where people really start to take you rather seriously and whatnot. But like, let's get to the roots, man. Where'd you start? And then how do you get to the point now where this dude's going to Greece with like 25 ballers and he's the leader of it. And he's putting them through something that's going to transform their life even more than he already does. And you're 36 years old, man. Okay. So I was just starting to get taken seriously at 36, Pete, right? People were like, okay, maybe, but you got 25 dudes going with you to Crete. They're ballers and stuff like that. I want to hear the origin story, the roots, how you got to this point.
Yeah, interesting, mate. The more I think about this, the more I'm able to connect a lot of dots when I look back here. And my personal development journey started real young. And I didn't know at the time. Obviously, you don't know at the time. It started like when I was like 14 years old.
Wow.
Right. So when I was like between the ages of 13 to 17, my bone and body structure and my muscle density was 3 years below what it should have been, according to the doctors. Because this was a problem for me, and this is why we went to the doctors, why I went to hospital, because I was way smaller than all the rest of the guys. I got the nickname Little Pete really early on, didn't do me any favors mentally. So, like, imagine this. I'm a 16-year-old boy, or you're a 16-year-old boy, but you look 13. And when all your mates are growing up rapidly and you still look super young, I was bullied by the boys physically, bullied by the girls verbally. I can pinpoint the moment I was like, fuck this. There's something needs to change. And then like I was standing under a tree with my best mate at the time, was a good looking guy. All the girls liked him. I was 15 years old. And the girls that we were with, one of them said to me, Pete, why are you so ugly? As though I'd have the answer for it.
Yeah. I know right now.
Oh yeah, I was just going to give you that answer, but
right.
like externally, I'd like tried brushing that off. Internally, that was like the worst thing anyone could ever say to me, because I knew, like I didn't feel good about myself at the time. I'd never been with a girl, I'd never kissed a girl, anything like that, and it was all I ever wanted. And a week later, I joined the gym.
Okay.
I was like, I have to do something about this. And a friend of mine, she worked at the gym, and she said, "Oh, there's an opening at the cafe there. Why don't you take the Saturday job?" And it's what I did. Little did I know that would become like the catalyst as to like my like rapid growth. And like fast forward a number of years, I'm taking the gym really seriously. I'm noticing like massive physical change, but also like mental change. I'm becoming very confident. Picking up books, like the first book I ever picked up was How to Talk to Anyone. And I just like, I was just addicted to this personal development at a really young age. And that in my early 20s took me into competing, took me into the bodybuilding arena.
I mean, let me ask you something, brother. Were you because when I grew up, I was super skinny, man. Right now I'm 6'1" and 240. My waist is still 33. I'm not like pretty well put together now, but I did it because of the exact same reason you did. I was bullied, but I was scrappy. Like I would fight you. I didn't care. Were you like that, or were you more docile? Just curious.
No, I had what some might call short man syndrome.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah, like that definitely materialized during my school years. Like I would just flip. I get really angry at a split second, and
sure.
And I would absolutely scrap.
Right. People like people look at me like now because I'm 51, right? And people like they kind of challenge the big guy, right? And I just kind of laugh to myself. I'm like, dude, I was 135 pounds scrappy. Now I'm 240. The experience is scrappy. Things are going to get a little bit interesting for you guys. Now that's awesome. I thank you for being transparent and authentic on that, brother. So let's move it forward a little bit. And when did you start coaching people one-on-one from a fitness realm or from a mindset, or which way did you go, brother?
No, like this, my journey into like, if you said to me 2 years ago, Pete, you're going to be in this like space called like men's work where you're coaching hundreds of men and you'll have thousands of guys in your community, I'd have been like, what the frick is men's work? It sounds weird. It sounds like be like the guys in the woods like bashing drums and singing Kumbaya.
Right.
The couple of years ago, just rewind a couple of years ago, I was running a business, a bricks and mortar business. Like you could walk off the street and come and see me. I was running, it was architecture, interior design, construction. I had a team of 20 people.
Yeah.
And I built that over the course of 6 years, literally from our living room to one office to another office. And then we ended up buying an office in London. We had tenants on one floor. We were going to fit out a co-working space on the top floor, and we had my team on the ground floor. And honestly, from the exterior, it was Pete's doing really well.
Right.
And I'm very fortunate. Like where I live in the UK, I live just outside of London in the countryside. Like on my doorstep, I have thousands of acres of like woodland and countryside. It's beautiful.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, I did what I always do, and I'd take my dog for a walk through the woods, and I'd take the same route every time. And I'd done this route hundreds of times. But this time around, when I walked this route, even though I knew the route, I felt mega lost, incredibly lost. Like internally, I was like, what's going on? Like I've got the house, I've got the model wife, I've got the Rolex watches, I've got the cars, I've got the big team, my company's winning awards. I am really unhappy. Like I'm like something is really wrong. I'm in a really dark place, and like I was getting to places mentally that I'd never thought I'd get to. Like I was always, I am the strong guy. I'm mentally very strong. I'm not going to get to those places where I think those thoughts, and they were happening. I'm like something's up, and I got to do something about this. And a week later, Saturday, one of my team members messaged me, as I always used to get messages from my team members with little problems. And it was about a bit of software. He had a problem with a bit of software and he was asking me to sort it out. And I was like, fuck this. That's it. I'm out. Done.
Right.
And within 3 months, I'd left my own business. So I'd quit my own company.
Quit it.
Really super fast transition. And what I then stumbled into was what I'm doing now. Like I was lonely. I was really, really lonely. Albeit I had people around me, had my
Sure.
team around me. I spent most of my time with my team, but I couldn't really, really talk to my team about what was going on internally and about all the problems and
They're
challenges
looking
I
to
was
you
facing.
to
Yeah,
lead,
absolutely.
right?
It
Yeah,
was the leader.
yeah,
And if the leader looks like he's crumbling or is crumbling, then the team will fall. And so
yeah.
I could never truly be like what I could never truly tell everyone what was going on inside.
Right.
And I hadn't I hadn't had any boundaries, like as a business owner and as a man. Like if you'd said to me,
Mm,
Pete, you need to put some boundaries up, I'd have thought you'd have meant a fence or like a wall. We
right.
did architecture, right? I'm
Right.
like, oh, what do you want to build a wall? Not about like me actually having like boundaries myself as a business owner and as a man. I didn't have any of that, and because of that, I was the nice guy. I would always say yes. I'd never say
Yes. Yeah.
no. Pete's the go-to guy. He's the fixer. Don't worry, just give it to Pete to sort it out. And I kind of prided myself in being that man. But over years and years of being that man and not having the difficult conversations when I needed to, both in business and in my personal relationships, it just leads to anger and resentment and then quitting your own company.
Wow. And did you have any kind of coach during that time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Were you able to kind of white paper it with them, kind of bounce stuff off them? Did they give you that urge a little bit to be like, hey man, you're feeling this, and I don't want to say meant for something more because you built something that was pretty substantial, Pete. But like what was the kind of coaching and consulting that was kind of going on during this time?
The coach, I wouldn't even call him a coach. He's a mentor. The
Okay.
mentor that I had at the time is now my business partner.
Oh, beautiful.
And so Yazine, who was his mentor, now his business partner, a very, very close friend. He's doing his PhD in positive psychology, built big 9-figure business. He's like semi-retired, was just sat on the board there. Was also a trained psychotherapist. And he never told me what to do. He's always very, very good at just like edging things out of me in coaching. And it was
Love it.
absolutely my decision to quit and to do that. He didn't know I was going to do that. I said, Yazine, I'm doing this is what's happening. I'm going to do this. But yeah, he gave me great mentoring and he absolutely like just shone a light in terms of that I am playing too small and I am letting things happen that I shouldn't let happen. And a lot of it stemmed down to I didn't know how to be a man. I didn't
Yeah.
I was like like in my early 30s, I looked like a man, but I was very much a boy.
And that could stem back to that bullying and that insecurity. Again, I'm not a therapist. I leave that to the therapy people. But when I'm coaching, I understand that we all know what we want, but we just sometimes don't know how to talk ourselves into it. Right.
Yeah.
And that's where every challenge that resides in you, the solution's there too. Right. So with that being said, it sounds like Ian really just kind of had you step into your greatness by saying, listen, this is what you are, and stop playing small and getting out there. That's beautiful. So what do you think then makes a great, coach?
What makes a great coach? I think what makes a great coach is just helping you figure out the answers to make you play a bigger game.
Oh, that's amazing, brother. And so when you're meeting these guys, Ian, that you're really kind of taking on and you're heart-centered and you're a go-giver, when you're kind of starting to work with them, what do you notice? What is maybe some of your secret sauce that maybe, if you don't mind sharing, that it helps them find their blind spot?
So we have hundreds of guys,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of commonalities. One of the biggest commonalities with men, especially high performing men, is that they're very, very clever, right? They're very smart guys. They're very, very switched on, and they will overanalyze and overcomplicate everything. And so rather than taking the simple step forward, they'll think about that simple step forward for way too long. And whereas one man who doesn't overcomplicate it will take 10 steps forward within the week, the other man who's very, very smart, very, very high performing in other particular areas
Right.
will still be thinking about that. And so, like, what I find is a lot of them just need to be a little bit more dumber and just to and just
Yeah.
and just to move forward rather than overanalyze. And most of the time, it's the basics.
Yeah.
It's like, let's get your health right.
Yeah.
Let's get you in a gym. Let's get you tracking your food,
Yes.
like tracking your macros. And I'm not saying you have to track your macros for the rest of your days, but let's just build that skill set because it helps you build discipline. Like
Yes.
going to the gym is hard, it's painful, put your body through pain mentally, physically. But tracking your macros is also is a bit of a ball ache, right? You have to if you've never done it before, you got to learn. It's difficult, and you got what's this thing called carbs and proteins and fats, and how does
Sure.
that work? And it's a skill set, but it makes a massive difference to the way you look and you feel, and it also teaches you your discipline, which is an incredible trait for any man to have.
Yeah. Yeah. Discipline is something that I lack at times as well. I'm not going to sit there and say I'm perfect at it, but I just kind of was told when I was younger by my wrestling coach that discipline is doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it, but you're going to get it done. And that's awesome, man. So when you're starting to work with these guys, Pete, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
Even if they don't ask the question, I'm just going to tell them.
Okay.
But the question is, Pete, can you hold a mirror up to me and tell me where I'm really either fucking up or just not playing at the level that I should be?
Yeah.
Most guys that will come to us, no one's ever telling them the truth. No one's ever truly going, here's the mirror.
Right.
This is the harsh reality of where you're at right now. Yeah, you may be doing 7 figures in your business. You may be doing great over there, but you're a shit husband.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You're watching porn.
Yeah.
And you're looking at girls on Instagram and you like the photos.
Right.
Like there's you may be a 7-figure guy over here, but you're not a 7-figure husband, or you're not a 7-figure father, or you're not a 7-figure friend. And
yeah.
and for most guys, they don't have anyone around them that will tell them the harsh truth and call them out.
Because they've made it to that 7-figure situation. I love that you brought that up. And I'm hearing a lot what's really important to you. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but like a lot of harmony. Like I maybe we agree, like balance to me is shit. I don't believe in balance. I believe in harmony. And like I believe there's 8 pillars of your God or your spiritual, personal growth, family, community, work, money, living environment, and then health and recreation, right? And it's like I liken it to a jazz band or something like that, where the horns are your health, the piano is your family, the drums are your money, whatever. And if one of them's out of tune, it's not harmonic, right? So I love that you bring people back into harmony, and you want the people to you call them out when they're not. And that's a beautiful thing, brother. That's awesome. So you're a little bit younger, Pete, but have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
I have.
Okay, let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly, man. Let's go back to the Double Deuce, the 22-year-old Pete. What kind of knowledge nuggets might you drop on him? Not to change anything, because what you've went through is made you, okay? But to maybe shorten a learning curve or blast through maybe just a little bit quicker.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. It's a great question. And I'm always like, everything that I've gone through, all the ups and the downs, it's just molded me into who I am now. And it's all happened for a reason. And where I am now is because of the actions I've taken and because of what I've been through. If I was to say one thing to the 22-year-old Pete, is to not give a fuck of what other people think.
Yes, dude.
Stop caring so much.
My man, brother. I make 2 fucking New Year's resolutions every year, man. 1, make someone smile every day, right? 2, unless I've hurt you, disrespected you, judged you, or owe you, I give 0 fucks about what you think about me at all. And that's what really just freed me up, because I used to be like that pleaser and be like, oh, I want you to like me and shit like that. And it just didn't work out for me. And now I attract more people by treating people with respect, and I'm getting it. And it took me till I was about your age, 38, actually. I remember when it happened. My little brother killed himself, and that's when it really set in, right? So, no, I feel you, man. That's awesome. So how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date, your expiration date, your life date and death date. Hopefully it's way down the line. But how does Pete want his dash remembered?
Being an amazing father, being the guy that my son looks at me and said, "That's my dad," and I'm proud that he's my dad, because
awesome.
I know that if I create that man,
yeah,
that I'll have mega impact on plenty of other guys. The ripple effect of me creating that man will absolutely affect everyone else around me. And I'm fortunate enough that I have communities and guys that follow us, so I know the ripple effect there.
Right.
But my focus is my son.
You're beautiful. That's beautiful, brother. Just amazing soul that you got going on right there, brother. So, what do you think people misunderstand the most about you?
That is a killer question. I think they misunderstand that I am extremely empathetic, and that I have a real soft side.
Okay.
So, but I think a lot of the guys, especially because I'm a bit more active on social media now.
Sure.
Sometimes the softer side isn't shown as much as maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. But I find that the harder face side, especially on social media, seems to just attract some more attention to get people into the world. It might just like trigger some. What I like to try and do is I'd like to trigger something in someone, because I hope that the trigger will then make a change.
I love that. And I just go back to your story and like that walk with your dog, right, man? And it's like you just came to this epiphany that you got to give yourself some space and grace, right? And you just really kind of step back from it and say that just the light bulb that must have went off, dude. I just would have been like to been a mosquito in the air, a fly on the wall during that time to see that transformation happen to you. That's freaking awesome, man. So anything keep you up at night?
What? Not right now. Actually, I sleep really well.
Good.
Which is great, because I didn't always just sleep really well.
Right.
But if there was something that was going to keep me up, but it's something that's on my mind, is that what's the next move for me to play a bigger game?
Right.
That is I like that question. It's like, Pete, what am I missing? What am I not doing just to play the bigger game? Because that is me. Like, I love the game. I love playing the bigger game, and I want to be able to go, fucking well done, mate. I'm proud, Pete, of you stepping up and taking those moments. The feeling of proudness, of being proud, is the feeling I want at the end of my days. Like, if there's one feeling, it's to be proud, not to be happy, not it's proud.
I love that. And just when you show up, you want my good buddy Eddie Milet put out a podcast, I don't know, a month ago about when you get to where you feel you're going to end up, whether it's heaven or whatever, you want to meet that dude and be like, you're the guy that I was expecting to meet. Not like, shit, man, what happened to you? Why didn't you do this? Or why start the judgmental on yourself? I love that you're always leveling up, man. It just fits perfect. So what is Pete's definition of a life well lived?
It's day by day. It's moment to moment. It's remembering. It's remembering moment to moment. It's delaying gratification. It's knowing that just in a second you could die.
Yeah,
just like absolutely. That. Just like your brother. My best friend at 25, car accident.
Yeah.
Just a couple of days ago, someone I know from work. She's 32. She got ill. And she died.
Yeah.
And so and it's remembering as best as I freaking can. I've got a coin here that I carry with me every day. Awesome. It's Memento Mori, and it says you could leave life right now. And it's just like that remembrance of like moment to moment to moment to moment to live to my as best as my abilities, like to be the man that I'm going to be proud of, and to live to my highest potential.
And you have that little one that's looking up to you all the time, man. How old is your little?
He's 2.5.
Oh, bro, is it fun?
Oh mate,
Your face, brother, just lit up.
He's unbelievable.
That's amazing, man.
When I started or co-founded the Awakened Man, one of the reasons I did that is because I wanted a space where I can talk to guys, and not necessarily like I didn't want a space where I can go and cry and sort of like that, but it was just like have a chat and just talk to guys about some things that I'm like questioning. And when Leo was born, for the first probably 3 months, I had no real connection to him. It just he just felt like this like thing in the house, and I was so worried about it. Like I hadn't told anyone. I hadn't told my wife. I hadn't told anyone. I didn't know what to do about it. I'm like, I've always wanted to be a dad. Oh, it's always what I've ever dreamed of, and now I'm a dad, and I feel nothing. I just feel weird that I haven't got this connection. And I remember I brought it up at the time. I had like a group of 10 guys, and I was like, "What? These guys are good guys. They're not going to judge. They're not going to take the piss." It's like. Brought it up. 2 of them had the same thing, and the other guys weren't. They hadn't had the same experience, but they were able to share, like, and just verbalize how they'd like navigated becoming a father. And it just like I was like, oh, freaking, my shoulders dropped. I felt so much better about it. I became a better father because I knew like the pressure came off.
Yeah,
there's a power of having a group.
You're wondering if you're doing it right. You're wondering, you're like, shit. And then you have that validation, be like, brother, you're never going to feel like that. I know personal experience. I feel you, brother. Yeah, that's awesome. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back. And Pete, I know we're going to cross paths one day, whether it's on page, stage, or on the mic again, man. But like, maybe we'll talk about some of these questions face to face and spend 15, 20 minutes on them. But today you got 5 seconds, no explanations, and they can all be answered that way. Are you ready to level up?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this, brother. What's the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
To become self-reliant.
Yes. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Personal discipline. It's like I go to the gym every day without fail.
Love it. And so you see me walking down the street, man. Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums just a little bit, man. What book might you hand me to level me up?
The Tools by Phil Stutz and Barry Michaels.
I've never heard of that. I'm going to look that up. Donnie, put that in the show notes, brother. Love it. Your most commonly used emoji when you text?
Fist pump.
Love it. Nicknames growing up?
Fucking Little Pete.
Pete.
Pistol Pete.
Love it.
When I start coming into my own. Yeah.
I love it. So you got a hidden talent or a superpower that really nobody knows about until now?
No, everyone knows about my talents. I'm very, if I got a talent, it's being showcased.
Nothing that's PG rated. I'm kidding, brother. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Monopoly.
All right. Headline for your life?
The Courageous Man.
Love it. Any superstitions or you pass on those?
Nah.
Beautiful. Go-to ice cream flavor there, Mr. Fit.
Pistachio.
All right. There's a sandwich named the Pistol Pete, man. Build that sandwich for me.
We've got chicken, avocado.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah. There'd have to be a layer of halloumi cheese in there as well. Ooh, and then more chicken.
Okay.
And then some tomato just to finish that off, give it a bit of, and that'll do us.
Gotcha.
Protein packed.
Just missing the man candy, the bacon. I'm kidding. I love bacon, but I've been passing on it for years. I love it. Pete, any favorite charity or organization you'd like to give your time or money to?
We're in the process of setting up our own charity organization called Promise of Sight, where we help children in third world countries be able to see.
That's beautiful, man. Thank you, brother. And last question, you can elaborate on this one a little bit, but what's the best decade of music, man? 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or 2000s?
I'd say for me, it's the 2000s, and it's the dance music.
Awesome, man. No, I appreciate that, brother. So how can we find you, Pete?
You can find me on Instagram, Pete_Taylor. I'm really active.
You are. That's awesome.
And then website, petetaylor.co.uk.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about the time recovery calculator that men can kind of access here on your website, brother.
Yeah, the time recovery calculator is something that I'll use with a lot of business owners. It'd be one of the first things that we'll go through.
I love it, dude.
I find that like most business owners, they are the bottleneck in the business.
Right.
Right. And one of the quickest things to do is look at where we're spending the time. And then we put the time into categories, and then we figure out how much of the time is being spent on the biggest needle moving, highest value activities the CEO, founder, top dog should be spending in the business. We'll figure out what we can remove, what we can delegate, what we can move around, and work off leverage off the back of that.
That's beautiful, man. I love that you put this together. And you're right, man. It's all black, like all over the place, even on your site and everything, brother. That's fantastic. Pete, do me one last solid and leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Just ask yourself in your life where your standard is not as high as it should be.
Yes. What's
the standard that you should be living at?
Yeah, I love it. And I that's my biggest thing. That's one you can ask my Susan. I'm like standards. That's what I wake up and I say. I point just like this. I said, I'm a little older now, so I don't just hop out of bed anymore because the physiological shit that happens to you in life. I just say standards, and that's it, man. I get up. That's what I live by. My coach has me live by them. I demand my clients to as well. And squad, my good friend Pete lives at the highest standards as well. He reminded us that the more he went through life, the more he was connecting the dots, in that his bone and body structure were lagging behind. He felt kind of like I did when I was younger, a little bit of that Napoleon complex, little man's complex. But then certain things started to happen. He got the job at the gym, started really kind of living in the gym, and he got addicted to personal development. We want you to really find your boundaries, and that business owners are usually the bottleneck in their own business. And someone like that, you might want to refer them to the recovery calculator, and maybe just let me make a warm introduction to Pete, because they need to talk to him. And I'm so glad that I did as well. His mentor said that he was playing too small. I believe his name is Ian. He's playing too small. He's letting things happen to him that shouldn't be happening. So he decided to really kind of take control of his own life. He reminded us that high-performing men, they're pretty clever, and they overcomplicate stuff. And he gives them the best advice ever. Dumb it down, dude. Just get back to the basics, your health, your spiritual, your family, your community. Get your tribe and your vibe back to where it needs to be. I believe he's a big guy that inch by inch is a cinch, right? By the yard it's hard. He wants you to take things one step at a time. He didn't build his body the way he did by just overnight. He built it. He was short steps, long vision. He just kept kicking ass, and look where he's at now. That wants you to live every day by day, moment by moment, and really enjoy that journey, he reminded us. I want you to check out Promise the Site. I'll make sure that he lets us know when Promise the Site drops so we can start, pouring into that foundation he's setting up. And lastly, this dude is actually planting trees that he's never going to sit in the shade of. I can see it now. And that he does it for the intention, not the attention. And that's the people that I want to be around, that I want you to be around, and that holds themselves to higher standards. He plays the game that he teaches. And that is somebody that I love, dude. And he levels up his health. He levels up his wealth. I don't know if you ever played sports. You got your varsity letter here. Time to shine today, brother. Thank you so much for coming on. I absolutely love your guts, man. I hope to be able to collaborate with you sometime in the future.
Appreciate you, Scott. Top man.
You bet.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.